Sometimes I scroll through old videos and realize I don't remember the moment. I remember the clip. The angle, the autofocus, the grin the camera caught after the joke, but not the joke itself. I wonder when that handoff happened, when the cloud started remembering better than I do. And if it does, whose version becomes real? We used to treat photos like anchors. You took one, you printed it, you tucked it somewhere, it gathered dust, and the dust became part of that memory. But now everything floats. Images don't live in a box. They live in a feed that wakes up on its own and taps you on the shoulder. On this day, do you remember? I do. And I don't. The cloud is a polite editor. It never tells you what to feel. It suggests a feeling with 3 tiny choices: highlights, memories, and the best of. It finds faces, it ranks smiles, it leans towards sunlight and blue skies. You linger on the beach? More oceans. You skip the hospital hallway? Less of that. We think we're curating. We're mostly agreeing. The cloud taps and we nod. Memory used to blur. It used to round off on the edges. Now recall is pixel precise. If you misremember, your phone corrects you. Actually, that was 4:32 p.m. Accuracy feels like kindness until it isn't. Once the record is perfect, the story stops negotiating. If the clip says you laughed, did you? If the clip missed the fight, did it happen? We grew up thinking memory was a mirror. Now it feels like a script supervisor. A highlight reel is a great host and a bad historian. It seats the guest you'll enjoy and forgets the ones you need. The reel reminds you to celebrate, not to grow. So the year becomes a necklace of bright beads. Vacations, parties, cake, and the string of ordinary days just disappear. What we don't resurface, we don't rehearse. What we don't rehearse, we slowly lose. Now the cloud isn't lying, it's just kind of omitting the information. Tragedy photographs badly. Anxiety hates being filmed. Grief avoids portrait mode. Your life, as told by the machine, becomes tidy, softened, polite. Not false, just incomplete. And incomplete, repeated enough, becomes persuasive. Every image now arrives with a halo. Location, time, weather, who is nearby, sometimes the mood. A sunset isn't just orange, it's 7:18 p.m., 64 degrees. Playlist was late night drive. We start trusting the halo more than our own recall. We outsource the arguments to the archive. Let's check. We win the detail and lose the texture. Now you're with your family and someone says, "Remember that summer we camped in the rain?" Half say 2013, half of the people say 2014. Old rules, debate, laugh, and then you just compromise. New rules, the cloud decides. It shows the selfie in the muddy tent. You nod. The room moves on. No harm done. Except we never told the story. We just verified it. The feed resurfaces a person you haven't seen in years. The machine still knows their face. Now, you didn't forget them because they didn't matter. Or maybe you did. But you forgot because life is heavy and the shelf is small. Now the cloud says, "Hold this again. It's tender. And it hurts." Now a clip shows you laughing at a party you remember surviving. The lens drank the lights, ignored the quiet panic in your chest. The record insisted on joy. You start to wonder if your body just made up the rest. Perfect recall can gaslight softly, with evidence. Now, the machine isn't evil, it's diligent. And diligence without context is how a diary becomes a dashboard. The danger isn't surveillance, it's direction. Flow toward smiles. You remember cheerful. Flow toward milestones. Life as a staircase. Flow towards selfies. Life as audience. Nothing wrong with that, it's just narrow. And when that past is easy to fetch, we fetch the easy past. When it's easy to edit, we edit the uneasy parts. When it's easy to share, we share what we liked. Little by little, the present takes notes. We perform for a future audience. The archive. Now, I don't have the rules. I have small moves that help me keep a hand on the wheel. Memory is a team sport. It always was. Now, there was a time when forgetting felt like failure. Now, I think forgetting makes room for all of us. Room for new days, room for present tense, room so the future isn't crowded out by proof. The cloud doesn't forget. It doesn't need sleep or distance. It can remember forever. But forever is heavy for humans. We need light pockets. We need stories that actually breathe. Now, I want a life where the archive is a friend. It's not a judge. The machine keeps the facts, the body keeps the texture. And the story lives where those two shake hands. When On This Day pings in my social media feed, I still open it. I smile. Then I ask one thing the feed can't answer. What did this feel like when I wasn't filming it? Sometimes nothing comes, and sometimes a scent, sometimes a sentence. But candidly speaking, that's enough. That's the part I won't outsource. Now, if you've looked at an old clip and felt grateful and a little displaced, you're not broken. You're just noticing the scene between record and recollection. And noticing is how we decide what to keep. I don't want a past that's flawless and thin. I want one honest and thick. Mud on the boots, wrong chords in the song, red eye in the flash, and one joke that no one caught because we were all laughing. Let the cloud remember. Let it keep the dates straight. But when it asks you who you were, answer with more than just pictures. Leave room for the parts you can't prove. The parts that make a person, the parts that show up when no one's recording. At the end of the year, I don't want evidence, I want a story that sounds like a human life, less polished and more true. If this made you look at your own On This Day differently, you're not alone. I want you guys to go ahead and tell me one memory your phone loves that you remember differently, or one you're glad that the cloud forgot. Next week, we're gonna flip that lens and we're gonna ask, who owns all this remembering? How our past quietly turns into a data set. Bring your questions, bring your stories, and I'm gonna bring mine. And if you haven't seen the Jordan arc, check out this playlist right here. Thanks for watching.